Welcome back to another episode of the With Snack Show. And today I want to discuss when you have raised your prices, you want to charge high ticket, you've committed to charging high ticket, but you've been hearing multiple no's. What to do about that? Because I know that when you've been hearing multiple no's, what happens is that you actually question your prices or you question your offer and it's not your offer, it's not your prices, which is why it isn't selling, right? So I know that you are committed to charging this price. So what you need to do, because it actually makes you question your prices, right? But you don't know what to do. So here's what you need to do. First of all, I want to tell you a little bit about myself because I have been there myself. Okay. I've been there at both the places where I've raised my prices, also doubled them and failed and then lowered my prices to back to what it was selling at before because I doubted my prices. I doubted my offer. I didn't have enough confidence and I didn't know what to do. So I'm going to share exactly what to do today, but I've also raised my prices, doubled them, and succeeded multiple times because I knew what to do. I also had the strategies that I'm going to share today as well. And there are a lot of other things that I'm going to talk about today as well. But the lessons that I've learned through both of these phases is that it takes a little bit longer until your audience, your content, and your mindset is ready for the up level. So you will hear those no's in the beginning because your mindset is still at the previous level of pricing. Your confidence is still at the previous level of pricing, right? You still don't have the confidence to charge that much, or you still don't have the confidence in your audience that they are ready to pay this much, right? And you will hear those no's because your content might still be attracting the people who are not ready to pay high ticket yet, right? So you need to shift your content to speak to the right people as well. And you will hear those no's until your audience is ready to see you charging high ticket, right? But the best thing happens when, and it happens once you actually are committed to charging those high ticket. It will happen when, like, this is the best thing, when you get one yes and you keep getting those yeses. What happens is that your confidence in your content, your confidence in your audience, and your confidence in your prices increases drastically. And it is the best thing ever. It is the best feeling ever. So here are the things that I would do while I'm raising my prices and hearing a lot of no's, because there's a few things that you need to be focusing on. And here are the things that I have done while raising my prices multiple times. Because as I've told before as well, if you know my story, I've gone from charging literally $200 for my one-on-one coaching packages to now charging $3,500 for the same thing, right? For my one-on-one coaching. And I've raised them multiple times to reach this level. And how I've done that is by going through these phases, right? So this is what I would suggest you to do as well if you're raising your prices. So the first thing is working on your mindset. So holding space in between the results without needing the external validation of results to think that you deserve to charge this much, right? Because most of the times in business, what happens is that we are literally waiting for the external validation that yes, that sale came in, which means that I can charge this much, right? I am that much worth, right? You don't need that validation. You don't need that validation from anyone else. So you need to hold that space in between the results. When the results aren't coming in, when you're hearing a lot of no's, you need to hold the space in between and not depending on the external validation. You don't need to do that, right? Second thing is holding your internal authority during this phase and knowing that the no's don't tell you whether or not you're worth charging this price. Any amount of no's cannot tell you whether or not you are worth charging this price or not. You decide whether or not you are worth charging this price or not anyone else, right? Someone who is not able to afford your prices is their problem. Like, I'm not saying it's their problem. I'm saying that it's because of their current reality. It's not because you don't deserve that much, right? You don't deserve to charge that much. It's not because of that. So also, I need you to hold your internal authority. What I mean by that is many of the times when you're not seeing results, you start feeling like I'm not an expert. feeling the imposter syndrome of being like, I'm not an expert, I'm not an authority, or feeling like my strategies are not working, or that I'm a fraud, or whatever. You're feeling all of these things because you're not seeing results. And that is because you are focusing on external validation to believe you're in your own power. Your power is your power. It has to be intrinsic. It doesn't have to be coming from outside, right? So holding your internal authority and not depending on the external validation of results coming in to bring that internal authority, like holding that internal authority of being like, because even if you've raised your prices, it doesn't mean that the results are not going to come, right? It doesn't mean that you have lost all of the skills, right? If your program was getting results for your clients at a lower price, it will get results for your clients at a higher price as well. It doesn't mean anything about you losing your skills. When you don't get the results, it doesn't mean that you've lost your expertise, right? You're not going to forget anything. So that is why you need to hold that internal authority, believe in your own power instead of focusing on or depending on the external validation. One exercise that I would have you do is writing down 101 reasons why people should pay you this much amount for your offer. So why you? Why your offer? Why should they pay you? Because when you write this list down, it is going to be like, yes, 20 reasons are coming down so much easier. And then it would be like, okay, I am having a hard time coming up with 50 reasons. And then it would be so much more harder to come up with 101 reasons. But I promise you, those 50 to 100 reasons are going to be so much more better, and it will build your mindset back up to why I'm charging this much, right? It will give you a lot of reasons around why you're charging this much and why you're worth charging this much, right? Okay, so that was about mindset. Second thing about audience, what you need to do is your audience needs to know that these are the prices, these are your new prices, and if they cannot afford it, they can actually self select themselves out. Someone who cannot afford it, as I said before, doesn't mean anything about you. It means everything about themselves, right? And your audience will always take as much longer to pay you or to be ready to pay you high ticket as longer you take to shift your content, right? So the quickly you can shift your content to speaking to the right person, the faster you'll start getting the yeses for your high ticket offer. And because I've done this multiple times, I know how much more faster it can be when you've learned content, messaging, and copy, right? So that is about the audience, and audience is directly proportional to content. So let's talk about content and messaging. You want to make sure that you are calling in a new version of the ideal client who is high level, self-led, and values your work, right? Why I'm saying who is high level is because when you are speaking to people who are not committed or who are not yet convinced, and you need to convince them that they need you or that they need your offer, this is I would say this is a low level client or a beginner level client. And for lack of better words, I'm not saying someone is a low level client. I would say that this person is not ready to pay you high ticket yet because they are not committed to bringing the results for themselves as well, because you cannot bring that much motivation in someone who is not even ready for their own results. You want to speak to someone who is ready for their own results, right? So someone who is already motivated to bring those results for themselves, for this person it's going to be so much more easier to pay you because this person is already motivated, this person is already looking out solutions for, and it is going to be so much more easier to have them hire you as your coach, right? Secondly, understanding who is this new level of ideal client that you want to call in and what level they are at, so exactly what they are going through, mapping out their daily life micro goals and micro problems, speaking to these people through your content, attracting them, and activating them through different types of content. These are the things that you need to do in order to speak to the high level client and in order to bring those high ticket sales that you desire. If you feel like high ticket content and messaging is nerve wracking and they are your biggest nemesis and your weakest spot, I'm breaking it all down tomorrow in my free community called the Witsmack Vault. You can listen to all of it for free and start applying immediately for your high ticket offers, content, and messaging and start bringing those high ticket sales. This community is amazing. I would actually suggest you to join this community. Highly recommend. But if you want to go a little bit deeper into this, obviously Copy to Cash Academy is for you. So you can actually look at the link in the show notes and join the Copy to Cash Academy if this is the right thing for you. And all of the details are in the link in the show notes. If you have any questions, you can always DM me on Instagram at the rate with Next Social. And I'm there for you to guide you and to show you whether or not this is the right place for you. Because literally, people have been seeing insane results inside the Copy to Cash Academy. They are going from $3,000, making $3,000 in their income, like barely making that much, to making $8,000, and sustaining it. Sustaining it is the biggest thing, actually, because when you are focusing on strategies like lead generation or strategies like sales calls, that actually drains you because you have to do that for every single one person out there rather than one thing that speaks to multiple people at the same time, which is content is going to be much more sustainable for you rather than the lead generation or the sales call, which you have to do one on one. One on one is not going to be sustainable to bring in those high ticket sales. If you want those high ticket sales to be scalable, that is why I always focus on attraction marketing over any other kind of marketing. And that is what I teach you inside the Copy to Cash Academy. It literally teaches you everything from content, what content you need to be posting to bring in those high ticket sales, which kind of copy you need to be writing inside those content, which works not only for Instagram posts, carousels, but also emails, um, sales copy, sales pages, etc. And it teaches you messaging, like what message do you need to share so that your offer becomes the obvious choice to work with. And content copy and messaging, that is the whole thing that you need to do in order to bring in the high ticket sales that you need. Link is in the show notes, as I said before. And if you have any questions, you can DM me on Instagram at the rate social. And thank you so much for joining. I'll see you next time.